Hello everyone.
X-Men. Why are you wearing your jacket inside?
Oh, I just thought I'd make me look more buff. Nah. So we just saw X-Men.
X-Men Dark Phoenix.
Dark Phoenix, everybody. It's 10 o'clock at night with Todd, but we just finished it, and I was going in thinking this was going to be pretty good, okay? I've enjoyed the other X-Men's. I was looking forward to this. Rotten Tomatoes says it all, actually. I'm surprised about the Rotten Tomatoes, but I actually have a different... I like this movie, everybody, but let's drop...
As soon as I saw this movie, I was like, 17%, that sounds about right. And with that, we can drop.
Let's drop.
Alright, so Dark Phoenix is the third movie since the reboot with the X-Men First Class.
First Class, then some other thing, and then here it is. Plenty of blue people in this one, everybody, okay? They really represent the blue people and the furries, okay? The Beast was in there, furries represented, okay?
So basically, this is the Dark Phoenix saga is a pretty major story across like X-Men, X-Men lore, X-Men, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
I remember bumping into it first in the comics, and then also because I used to read the comics, and also the X-Men cartoon had a fucking awesome X-Men Dark Phoenix like saga thing going on.
Remember the opening?
Great.
That's going to be the ending song now.
Great song. So really cool saga. Really looking forward to what they could have done with that saga here. They completely fucking blew it. Holy shit, I cannot believe how bad this movie was by every metric imaginable. Let's start with what I think was the biggest issue of all. Yeah. The casting of Sophie Turner as Jean Grey. Holy shit.
I went on the internet, a lot of people aren't liking that, everybody.
Man, she was so bad in this. Like, so bad. Okay, listen. I think she did a great job as Sansa Stark. I think she had moments where she was strong, where she was vulnerable, where she was triumphant, like all sorts of stuff, right?
There was a lot of years, though, to kind of build that character and also that...
And make it hers.
Yeah, and that also might have just fit her a lot better. Now, when I was watching it, the American accent for me, I could really tell it was
a bad American accent.
But all in all, look, I thought that in a lot of the scenes that she was in, I do agree that she was slightly bland in
slightly.
But I didn't think...
This is Sophie Turner's acting. I can't control this power in me. Bad things happen with the power.
I don't know though if it was not. I don't know if it was actually the fact that she was just up against other actors that had a lot more dynamic range. No. Or the fact that maybe she just wasn't holding it as well. I don't know, but
it was a combination, I think, because you did have a fantastic cast in this. You had like Fassbender, and you had
the guy in the wheelchair. What's his name? He didn't
answer shit. Everyone knows him. Damn it, but he's a good actor. I like him.
Yes.
And you had Jennifer Lawrence playing Raven. And every time Jennifer Lawrence is on, you're like, yeah, why can't you be Jean Grey? You can act, like this is working here. But then obviously it cuts back to Sophie Turner, and you're like, no, go back to the other one. Do you know what I mean? So
I look, before we move on, I don't think she did a terrible job. I think she did a competent job. First, big block. I can't even say it now. Big block. I can't even fucking say it. God. Blockbuster movie for her. And I think that, maybe she's just kind of getting the ropes. But you're right. When you see Jennifer Lawrence, you do see a stark contrast. See what I did there? Right. But then, apart from that, the villain themselves, they look like Groot. I thought it was fucking Groot when I first saw them.
The Groot army.
It would look like, I am Groot, I am angry, and they were just wanting to take over the world. That's no spoilers, by the way. But look, this isn't a spoiler. The enemy wanted to take over the world. Yeah. In every fucking movie
the main villain basically was Kellyanne Conway. Now let's just put out Sam. I'm going to ask Sam to pull up a picture comparing the main villain and Kellyanne Conway. Tell me these are two different people. They're not. They're the same.
Maybe it's the alien race changing again, making it look like very similar. But the thing is, right? She was also in another X-Men movie or some sort of Marvel movie. I didn't think it was her. Pretty sure it was her.
Sam's thinking about that diamond chick.
The girl, the diamonds. Or something.
That was the Mad Max girl.
Okay, let me just check quickly.
Yes, it was the Mad Max woman, whatever her name is. God, all blondes, they're not the same person, Jesus, Sam, okay? There's like 20 years difference between those two women as well.
Sam might have been wrong then.
Okay,
but look, apart from that...
Yeah, but look, overall, the villains in this were non-existent, and also given the kind of... The lore behind the Dark Phoenix story and what it means and where it's all come from, that doesn't tap into any of that at all, and you really just have some bog standard Groot-looking enemies who want to do bad things, and that's it. I would say, generally speaking as well, the plot moves forward in really ridiculous and unbelievable ways in this film, in terms of the way that specific characters react to events. You know, so like, you know, Jean gets this power that she gets, and all of a sudden she's a completely different person inexplicably. They're trying to do some stuff in the background where she's coming to terms with some stuff in her past, but all of it is so like ham-fisted, and it's like it doesn't ever take you on a believable journey. It really feels that the whole movie is Game of Thrones season 8.
I was going to say, what other show is out at the moment where someone can like walk around in fire and shit, dealing with their past,
really wrapping it up fast,
snaps out of nowhere, you know, snaps out of nowhere.
It doesn't earn its biggest moments at all, and you'll see that throughout the entire film. There are 6 or 7 examples I could give, but I won't because of spoilers, of stuff that just happens, and you're like, what? That's not what that person would do.
I disagree with
what
that.
would happen.
I think, you know, in a 2-hour movie, you have to make sure that the plot's moving along where... I didn't look at it and go, whoa, this moved too fast. I personally didn't. I felt like the whole Xavier thing that made the plot move forward, that's all I'll give. You know, yeah.
That was one part of the movie that I enjoyed.
You know,
they did add some depth to Xavier's character in a way
did.
that I thought was actually really good.
In a way that we've never seen before, and it was much needed. Because if we just saw a one-dimensional Xavier, like, I'm always right, kind of thing, that would have been kind of shit, you know? Yeah. So I thought that, all in all, the pacing for me was fine. Because they've got 2 hours, they've got a job to do, they've got to make sure it moves forward.
Disagree.
I didn't feel like it was actually that bad. Then action scenes, okay, they were good, but like, they weren't like Avengers good. They were just like, they felt like 2001 action scenes.
Yes.
That's what it felt like, you know? Nothing wrong with them, but things have slightly moved on, and I felt like every single time a wall broke through when someone fell through it, I'm like, God, I can see that's a set. That's a fucking set, and I can see that shit.
I do feel like, first of all, there are very few action scenes, and secondly,
I disagree.
There were so few action scenes.
There was a lot of times shit was going down.
Have we seen the same movie?
Holy
shit, you think this movie was pretty good, Sophie Turner was fine, the plot moved fine, there was lots of action. What the fuck movie did
Sophie
you just
Turner,
sit through?
call me, okay? That's what it's all about, okay? Please. No, I really think that, you know, every 15 minutes, 20 minutes, there was something going on in terms of people getting punched or kicked, or like, you know, the powers were coming out. There was shit constantly going on in that regard.
I think it was just, I was really waiting for actual
I think
stuff
Ralph was just falling
down.
asleep like I didn't Pikachu movie.
And
really.
And when the action did start to happen, it was very dull, and as Sam said, it looked like it was year 2000 stuff.
Yeah.
And just less interesting than that. The original X-Men movies, yeah, the 1 and 2, man, they were good movies. They had some cool action in them.
Yeah.
These are big steps down from those movies. I really feel like the Marvel Comics universe needs to grab the X-Men license off Sony and be like, listen, you've tried, stop, let us handle it now. But I think, just to finish my point,
of course,
there's a really stark contrast between what the Marvel Comics universe has done in tone, in terms of lightheartedness and like this sense of camaraderie and all that sort of thing. And then the other end of the spectrum, you've got stuff like Logan, and you've got the Dark Knight trilogy, which is really dark and dense and like realistic almost, right? X-Men sits in the middle. It feels like an outdated comic movie with no sense of humor, no panache, you know? And I just feel like if they really need to reboot this franchise and choose one way or the other. You know, they need to make Guardians of the Galaxy, but X-Men, or Thor Ragnarok, but X-Men, or they need to make a full-on hardcore Logan X-Men reboot, which I'm totally down for. But continuing down this route with this cast and this sort of acting and this sort of framing, I think no way.
Finally, I was taking a breath. Okay,
Finally.
Thank you. Now, I really do think that the big problem with this movie was, you know, X-Men's a perfect example. The original ones, Logan was a very strong character that you wanted to follow that journey. I do think that, you know, this whole Jean Grey story was just a bit bland. It was a bit boring, and you weren't hooked the whole way. That was the problem. Was it the bad acting, or was it just the story itself? I don't know, but I just think that what they really do need is maybe they need a Logan reboot. You know, it's someone at the center of X-Men that is really interesting, you want to watch. But Jean Grey, for instance, for this movie, it wasn't that personally. But it wasn't that bad.
17% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, that's not great.
The critics have got it right for once. Trust me, this movie is trash tier.
Definitely see it, everybody.
Avoid it. That's my hot take. That's just avoid it.
This is my hot take.
If you see it on Netflix for free on a Friday night or whatever, fine. But don't go out of your way to see this movie.
I mean, let's face it, most people get Netflix for free because they've got some mate, they just use their account, right? That's what I do, people. But I do think, have a look at it if you're a hardcore X-Men fan. If you're not, give it a miss, you know? It's not something it's not like Avengers Endgame or some shit. No. But all in all, it's not that bad, everybody.
Disagree. Anyway, that's the end of the episode.
And next time we'll be back for a live show.
That's right.
And
Friday morning, 7 a.m. Sydney time.
Yes.
Do the conversions. That'll be Thursday night in the States and Europe. We're going to be talking about E3, upcoming winners and losers, all the Laymen Gamon predictions you could shake a stick at or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Okay. Goodbye, everyone.